Hello, everybody, and welcome to the loving kindness meditation here at the Dharma Bum Temple. My name is Alex. It's wonderful to be here with you online tonight. I'm really happy that, here at the Dharma Bum Temple, just because you can't come to the church doesn't mean we still can't offer services and meditations. And so, again, really happy to be here with you tonight. I don't know if you got the message earlier, but if you didn't, this is the message now. In Buddhism, we really want you to wear loose-fitting clothing during meditation. So nothing is binding, nothing is tight, nothing is restricting the breathing. You can sit comfortably, and it's really important in meditation that you have that. So I, from now on, highly encourage pajamas. I love pajamas. Last week, I only said I had one pair. That's not true anymore. I got some more pajamas. I'm going to show you my pajamas for today. Today's pajamas are Llamas. And these are really, really comfortable. And I got them a size too big. So that's even better. So these are really comfortable. And I hope you're comfortable too. And I hope you brought your best pajama game to the meditation tonight. And if not tonight, then I hope next week you'll bring your best pajamas. So I hope you're all in your pajamas, or will be soon. And again, just be as comfortable as you can possibly be. All right. All right. So this is a loving kindness meditation. If anybody here at the Dharma Bum, if anybody here online is new to this loving kindness meditation, or you've never even been to the Dharma Bum Temple or been to an online meditation with us, feel free to say something in the comments. Just say hi, and just so we know who you are. This is interactive, even though this is online. So we're going to be taking some questions later on after the meditation. So if you have any questions about Buddhism, about loving kindness, about anything really that's kind of Buddhism related, I'm happy to try and answer those after the meditation. So think of those now, right? So don't be afraid. The word that we really use in Buddhism is called Metta, M-E-T-T-A. And Metta comes from Pali, which is the language we think is pretty close to what the Buddha spoke. And with a lot of these ancient languages, one word in this ancient language has lots of different translations in modern English. And this word metta is no different. And it's wonderful that there are different translations, because it really depends on who we're doing this practice for. You can use different translations. So one of the translations is unconditional friendliness, loving kindness, which you've already heard, and goodwill, simple goodwill, right? It's a wish to be happy. That's all metta is. It's a wish to be happy. And so you can think of all of these and figure out which one's going to fit best depending on who you're doing this for, right? So don't be afraid to experiment either. If one word isn't working, or if one way of thinking about it isn't working, you can shift it a little bit just to a way that does, all right? And so when we wish loving kindness for somebody, we're not only wishing them happiness, but we're wishing that they do the things that cause happiness, right, for themselves. And so what are the things that cause happiness? Well, it's our positive words and actions and deeds, right? That's it. Just like we say at the Dharma Bum Temple, think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds. Maybe not in that order, but those are the three things that we say to do at the Dharma Bum Temple. And they're really a mantra for us, because they form the foundation of our spiritual practice. Because if we can't do these things, if we have difficulty doing these things, then really nothing else we do is going to really work out too much, is it? Because it's the foundation. We need to build a really strong foundation. And so this loving kindness meditation is a way that we can really help with this building of this foundation, right? The way that we do this meditation is a little bit different than maybe what you've been taught before, if you've done a loving kindness meditation before. Normally in a loving kindness meditation, we start with ourselves, and then we kind of go outward from easiest to most difficult. So we start with then we do a loved one, a neutral person, the enemy, and then we do it for all beings. In this meditation that we're going to do tonight, we do it a little bit differently. So we're going to do it for our benefactor first. So we're going to imagine our benefactor, this person who is really easy to do this, to think these thoughts about, and we're going to do it for them. And then we're going to imagine them doing it for us. And when that happens, I want you to either put your hand over your heart or just notice. Notice if there's any resistance. If you're imagining your benefactor doing it for you, is there any resistance? Is there any quivering? Is there any part of the heart that says, no, I can't let you in? Not right now. And it's okay if that's the case. It's not a problem. We're just asked to listen and just to see what's there. Okay? And then we're going to do it for ourselves. And we're going to listen for the same thing. And then we're going to do it for all beings. And you can do it for all beings. You can do it for a particular group of beings. You know, there's a lot of suffering in the world right now, especially that we're all locked in. And I was talking to a friend yesterday, I think it was last night or the night before, I can't remember. He was texting me and he says, Alex, this is really hard for me. And I'm kind of a social person. I just miss being around people. And this is not helping. And he was just really reaching out and just saying, I need a little bit of help here. And I really understand that a lot of people are like that. And in this audience, I'm sure a lot of you are like that as well. And this is really difficult for you, not being able to kind of be in physical contact in a way that you would like to. And so hopefully this class of loving kindness at the Dharma Bum Temple will kind of open your heart a little bit and expand your heart and understand, that we're doing this for the benefit of as many people as possible. We want as many people as possible to live. And so your sacrifice and your staying indoors will really help them. And that's a wonderful act of loving kindness that you can think about as well. All right. So we're going to start the meditation now. And if you're sitting on a cushion, you just want to make sure that you're sitting on the forward third of the cushion so that your hips are higher than your legs. And so that your legs and your body are making this kind of wonderful tripod here that's really nice and sturdy and steady. So you're not likely to move around a lot. Although if you need to move around a little bit during the meditation, that's okay. All right. Our back is nice and straight. So I like to make my back super duper straight and just kind of relax. So my core is engaged, but my shoulders have dropped, right? So I'm really just kind of comfortable even though my core is still somewhat engaged. It might feel a little funny to do it that way, but over time you'll get used to it, right? Just do the best that you can. Your head is nice and straight, and if you want to open your eyes, you can open your eyes. You can do it with your eyes closed, which is how I do it, or you could do it with your eyes half closed, looking down about 45 degrees down past your nose in this kind of soft, unfocused gaze. And a couple of things, before we start is one, whatever we do in any kind of meditation, we really want to develop this attitude, especially in loving kindness, of no struggle. We don't want to struggle with how we sit. If you're seated on a chair, you just want to make sure that your feet are flat on the floor with your legs a few inches apart. And everything else is the same. And so you don't want to struggle with your position too much. All right? If you need to move, it's okay to move. But let's see if you can stay as still as you can. And if you feel any discomfort whatsoever, just take a breath. And, more often than not, you'll see that this sensation passes and you don't have to move, right? And that also is kind of a way you can have loving kindness for yourself, that you're not reacting to every little teeny tiny bit of discomfort, right? So But if you have to move, that's okay. If you need to get up and stretch and open your eyes and yawn or do whatever it is that you need to do during the meditation, that's also okay. Just make sure that you do what you need to do and sit back down and start again. All right? So you can always start again, because that's one of the things that I love about this practice. And the other thing is that when we sit like a Buddha. This is a really good strategy. So we can imagine the Buddha in all the statues and all the paintings that you see here at the Dharma Temple or that you've seen online. He's sitting upright and dignified and ready for the task at hand to get to know your mind. So that's what this is all about, getting to know our heart and to know our mind. All right, so do the best you can. So I'm going to get out my handy dandy timer with my llama pajamas. I'm all nice and comfy. You all get nice and comfy too. Assume the position of meditation. And let's begin, shall we? That's not it. That is not it. Okay, we can start again. Here we go. And so just allow your eyes to close if you want to. And making sure that you have that nice, comfortable, and sustainable position so you're not likely to move around too much. Sitting with this air of dignity, sitting like a Buddha. Let's just start to pay attention to the breath. And you can focus your breath at the base of the nostrils, feeling the air go in and out as you breathe. You can even take a deep breath all the way in and all the way out. At first, not forcing the breath and letting it be quite easy and quite natural. Remembering this idea of no struggle. So just for the next couple of moments, just rest as gently as you can in the sensations of the breath. After a couple of breaths or a couple of moments, you'll notice the mind start to wander. Thoughts of the past and the future filling the mind. It's okay. We have this wonderful technique called labeling. So when we have a thought that arises, we can just say to ourselves, thinking, and come back to the breath. Just that act of thinking, saying thinking, will snap the mind back to the present moment, where it has the possibility for happiness. And now is also a good time to experiment with the breath. So if you're not feeling really comfortable, you can either take a deeper breath or a shallower breath, or change the breath in such a way that the body feels nourished and the mind feels at ease. This is in another way we could have loving kindness for ourselves before we actually start this formal meditation on metta. And so we'll begin our meditation in just like a minute or so. Let's reconnect with the breath again. So now to begin our meditation on metta, unconditional friendliness, loving kindness, and goodwill. We're going to call to mind what we in Buddhism call a benefactor. And a benefactor can be anyone, living or not, who has shown us great love and great kindness. Mother, father, brother, sister, best friend, teacher, anyone where you, when you think of them, this smile comes across your face and you're just so, it makes you so happy and grateful for the kindness that they've shown you. Usually it's best not to do a romantic partner, but anyone else is fair game. So just call this person to mind and feel how your heart just gets just a little bit bigger when you think of them. And you can do this meditation a couple of ways by either reciting phrases like, may you be happy. May you be safe from inner and outer danger. May you be well in body and mind. And may you be at peace and live at ease in this world. And you can repeat one or more of these phrases, just continually over and over and over. Say their name, may you be happy, and then say their name. Or if you don't want to repeat phrases, you can just radiate loving kindness from your heart to theirs. If it's just easier for you to do that, that's perfectly acceptable too. Just imagine this beam of loving kindness from your heart to theirs. You can do one or more benefactors, doesn't matter. Don't struggle to find one, just the first one that pops into your head is okay. And so for the next few moments, we'll do this practice of loving kindness for our benefactor. Smile. And now we can shift our focus a little bit from loving kindness for a benefactor, and now we can imagine the same benefactor, or it could be a different one, doing this practice for us. So if you could picture them in your mind, and imagine them either saying these phrases for you, like, may you be happy, say your name. May you be safe from inner and outer danger. May you be well in body and mind. May you be at peace and live at ease in this world. Or you can just imagine them radiating loving kindness from their heart to yours. And when you do so, if you want, you can put your hand over your heart and notice your heart's response. Is it accepting of this loving kindness from your benefactor? Is there any resistance? And if there's any resistance, can you not judge that and simply allow it, and perhaps maybe breathing into it? And does that let it in just a little bit more? So we're not judging our experience, we're just noticing. And doing something about it if we can. So again, for the next few moments, let's do this practice and imagine our benefactor doing this loving kindness for us. And now we can shift our focus again. And we can now do this practice for ourselves. You can keep your hand over your heart if you want to or not. It's up to you. And just call to mind your own wish to be happy. Your own wish to be safe and healthy, which is a wish everyone else has too. And begin to gently say these phrases over and over for yourself. May I be happy. May I be safe from inner and outer danger. May I be well in body and mind. May I be at peace and live at ease in this world. And maybe say these phrases ever so gently. And just listen for your heart's response. And smile. And we'll do this for the next few moments. And then finally, we can do this practice for either all beings in all directions, or if you want to start with a smaller group of beings, like maybe everyone who's online tonight, and then expand out, you can do that. Or if there's a particular group of people you want to do this practice for, you could do it for them. That's fine. Either way, by phrases or just radiating loving kindness to those people. And we'll end our practice by doing this meditation on loving kindness for as many people as we can. So just open your eyes when you're ready and take the next couple of minutes out in silence as you stretch your arms and stretch your legs, and keeping those thoughts of loving kindness about you as much as you can. And also, if you have a question on the instructions, on the meditation itself, I'm really eager to hear about your experience of meditation, what that meditation was like for you. no wrong answers there because it's just your experience, right? Or any question or any other sort of question that I can answer, happy to do it. And so I'll spend the next couple minutes here in quiet as I get the circulation back. The llamas will be happy. And the llamas await your questions. Okay. That was good for me. That's for sure. I was very comfortable. I love these new llama pajamas. Do we have anything yet? Okay. So again, don't be shy. If you have any questions, happy to answer them. Any thoughts on what your experience of meditation was like? That's all groovy.
So Roberto said, for some reason, I found it harder than usual to practice metta towards the world in general. He wonders if that could be a result of isolation.
Could having it be difficult to do for the metta for the world at large? Could it be difficult because you're in isolation? Yeah, I think so. If you're a type of person who's really more extroverted and who likes to be out in the world and you're missing that connection and you don't feel connection, it's hard, isn't it? I would imagine. It's hard. It's really difficult just to feel that for the people at large because you don't feel connected to them. But a way to think about this, Roberto, is that you're not the only one in this boat. How many people are out there, just like my friend I talked about earlier, how many people are out there who are in the same boat as you, who feel that that's so hard for them, to maybe this practice is difficult or they're extroverts as well, or just maybe they're not. They just want to be out in the world, and this isolation is really, really doing a number on them. It's really making them suffer more. Right? Can you connect with them? And can you connect your suffering about this with theirs? Is that a possibility? Because you're not alone in this. And I know that there are so many people out there, maybe other people online who feel the same way as you do. This is really hard for them. They really love people. They really need to be out and have that people connection. I heard earlier that we've only been in California anyway. If you're in California, we've only been in isolation since the 19th. So it's about 2 weeks. And I already heard somebody say, like, when we're out of this isolation, I'm hugging everybody. Because they just miss people that much. And I think really we didn't really realize how much we would miss it. And I think that's also why we're having such a difficult time. And so, Roberto, can you connect with those other people as well? Because I guarantee you they're suffering too. And your suffering is their suffering, and their suffering is your suffering, and that's how we connect sometimes. Okay.
David said, You love saying llama pajamas, don't you?
I love saying llama pajamas. I'm so excited about my llama pajamas. I've got to tell you, the only not so positive thing is that no pockets. There's no pockets in these llama pajamas. I love alliteration. Well, it's not really alliteration, but it's a rhyming thing. So yes, and there's llamas, and there's like llamas with 2 L's and llamas with 1 L, and in a Buddhist context, you can do a lot with that. You should see my pajamas for next week. Oh my God. Don't be shy, it's okay. So while you're thinking of questions, and since this is online, I don't want to have a whole lot of dead air. While you're thinking of questions, and so if you have any questions in the meantime, I'm going to tell this little story. The story came to me while I was in meditation, while I was doing my loving kindness meditation. This just came to me, and this is a wonderful kind of loving kindness. This is the loving kindness of devotion. And this came to me as kind of a story of the Buddha's time, and it's the story of Ananda. And during the Buddha's 45-year teaching career, I guess you could say, he had many attendants, but not all of them were really well suited to be an attendant because it was such an all-encompassing job. And so for the last 24, 25 years of his life, his cousin Ananda became his attendant. And he was really good, right? He was really good. He was so devoted. And the job of attendant for the Buddha was huge. It was huge because he had to attend to the Buddha like personally. Like he helped him bathe, and he tended to him while he was sick, and he changed his water pot, and he made sure he had fresh robes, and he mended his robes. He did all these different types of things for the Buddha physically, for the personal things for the Buddha, as well as he met with a lot of dignitaries who wanted to speak to the Buddha, because for the most part, you didn't speak to the Buddha without speaking to Ananda first, right? He was the first kind of line of defense, and Ananda was incredibly kind. That was one of the things he was most known for, was his incredible kindness and kind of personability. I don't even know if that's a word, but he was very personable. And so he ministered to the Sangha a lot. So a lot of people came to Ananda when they didn't think they can actually come to the Buddha. Or they wanted to go to the Buddha, so they had to go to Ananda first. And so Ananda became this incredibly beloved figure in Buddhism, right? And because of this, Ananda kind of neglected a lot of his meditation. He got to being what's called a stream enterer. But that's it. Being a stream enterer is just the first level of realization before other ones, like up to Arhat, which is a fully enlightened being. And so many people in the Buddha Sangha were fully enlightened beings. They were Arhats, And sometimes they gently made fun of Ananda, saying, "Oh, you're just a learner. You're just a learner because you're just at the first stage of realization, and they are way up here, and they're a low amount of realization or level of realization." They didn't do it meanly, but they just wanted to prod him to meditate more. But he was just so busy. He'd taken care of everything for the Buddha. He didn't have the time that others had to devote to meditation. And so when the Buddha actually did die, he took it very hard, very, very hard, probably harder than he should. And the other monks kind of gently chided him, said, you knew this was going to happen. You knew this was going to happen. What did you think? And by the way, after the Buddha died, these I think 500 monks, I think it's 500, got together and said, okay, well, what are the Buddha's teachings? They wanted to codify the Buddha's teachings. They wanted to codify what all the rules were, plus what all of his Dharma talks were, right? And they knew that Ananda was the only one who could say, or who could tell what all of the Dharma was, what all of the Buddha's Dharma talks were. What was the Dharma? What was the Buddha's Dharma? Ananda really was the only person who would be able to, who had the memory to do this, because the other thing that Ananda was known for was his incredible memory. But they said, you can't come to this meeting, which is called the First Buddhist Council. It happened 90 days after the Buddha died. You can't come to this meeting unless you're an arhat, unless you're a fully enlightened being. You can't come. And after the Buddha died, people were coming and flocking to Ananda looking for counsel. They were so upset and so unhappy and so distraught. They didn't know what they were going to do. They weren't fully enlightened beings. They didn't get it. But the only person they knew who to come to was Ananda. And so Ananda spent all of his time, counseling. He was so kind and so generous, counseling these people who were just so distraught. Yet he was distraught himself. And I think it was the last night, one of the senior monks came up to him and said, this council is happening tomorrow and you're not coming. You're not coming unless you're an arhat. And so Ananda finally went deep into the woods, sat down in meditation, and finally, after all night meditating, finally became an arhat. But he sacrificed all that time, all those previous 25 years, just to be the Buddha's attendant. And the last not funny, but interesting little part of this story is, well, they needed to know, well, how are we going to know if Ananda's an arhat and he comes into this meeting? So how they knew was Ananda levitated in. So he levitated into this meeting, and if you have these types of powers, that's one kind of sign that you could be an arhat. So he levitated in, and they kind of got it, and so he was the one who recited all of the Buddha's teachings in that meeting. So we have the Buddha Dharma because of Ananda. So fun, cute little story. So again, if you have any questions, happy to take them.
So Marisa said, I found the last part of the meditation easiest and most beneficial for me. It was emotional, but ultimately felt the nicest.
Mm-hmm.
And she also said, I love your stories.
Yeah, thank you. I love telling stories. And people could have relate differently to that. They can be like Roberto, which I totally understand how it's difficult to feel that connection. And with Marisa, I would imagine there's that sense of longing, isn't there? That makes you connect with them. And maybe that would work for Roberto too, that sense of longing, yeah, I know other people feel the same way that I do, and I really wish that I could be with people. Because as the Buddha said, the Sangha, that is all of spiritual life. That's all of your spiritual life is the Sangha. It's not just the Buddha and the Dharma, which are obviously important. It's the Sangha. It's the connection that we have with each other that makes this practice worth it. That make this practice, worth it. It makes everything worth it. And sometimes we can't feel that if we're not actually physically connected. Which is one of the reasons why we have these classes online, all free. And why the people who lead these classes, Jeff and Travis and myself, are really happy to do it. We know you're suffering, and our suffering, your suffering is our suffering. And so out of compassion, we're happy to have these classes for you. I'm happy to get my llama pajamas and show them to you.
Frank said, I guess this is more of a comment than a question,
Okay.
but one of the hardest things for me are the park and beach closers, that lack of connection to nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. I like the beach. I love the beach, and I like the park. And I think even today they closed some more trails. A friend of mine I saw on Facebook, he likes to go walk on the trails near his house with his dogs. He has these two beautiful German Shepherds. Hi, AJ. And he when he was coming off the trail, the police were there and they were closing off the trail. So yeah, absolutely, I totally understand that. But what are you connecting with? What is the nature and what is the beach? What is that helping you connect with? Are you not just connecting with yourself? With your own heart and your own mind? And know that these, all other conditioned things, these closures are impermanent. They won't last forever. And we're doing this so we can save lives. So people don't get sick. So we don't harm anybody. And so when we're in meditation, can we have this as our recollection? This kind of loving kindness of not doing any harm. I know it's hard, but it is impermanent. It won't last forever. We got time for one more. Go ahead. It's all right.
So David said, before the meditation tonight, I noticed a lot of nervous energy.
Huh?
Do you have any external triggers to help you snap out of doom and gloom?
Sometimes opening your eyes. If you're in meditation and if you have that, closing your eyes might exacerbate that. So either opening your eyes or making them half open, looking 45 degrees down past your nose. Because when you close your eyes, even though that's easier to do in the West, sometimes what happens is a lot of thoughts pop up. And so if you're going in with anxiety, it could exacerbate your anxiety. So do what's going to be easiest for you. And even if this helps, while we're doing the meditation on loving kindness, and if you still feel anxious, just connect with the breath. Don't worry about my instructions or the loving kindness. Just connect with your breath. And just connect with the breath, be with the breath, in and out. And eventually, yes, these thoughts should subside. Making sure you ask yourself, what kind of breath would be good right now? Because I'm anxious. Do I need to take a deeper breath? Probably you do, I would imagine. So that's one way to do it. Nobody asked me about my shirt. This is Danhausen. Danhausen's funny. Danhausen's a professional wrestler on the indie circuit. Look him up. It's hilarious. He's very nice and very evil. So he likes to say. And he also says, no swearing, which is perfect for this class. Although sometimes I do swear. All right, guys, thank you so much. I love each and every one of you out there. Please be safe. Know that this isolation is helping others. And see you next time. Much love to you. Bye now.